guys, welcome to my new location. This feels incredibly weird because everything behind me, obviously I've known for years because it's my grandma's house, but I have never filmed here before, and now it's going to become my standard for like the next couple of months. So this is my bed, my nice little single bed. My parents' bed is literally here, like I'm touching it. So this is us for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be a bit tight, be getting to know each other way more than we already do. But I'm excited. So this is my first 7 on Sunday, but I also have something to show you guys because I got some socks, and I know it's really random, but look at them. Look at them. So this one's sushi. This one, I mean, to me that looks like Fruit Loops, but I think it's donuts. Then we have tacos and we have cherries. Like, who is upset? Literally on the back though, it does say items are socks, not real sushi, cherries, donuts. So it is donuts or tacos. So I was pretty spot on with thinking they were donuts, but they really do look like Fruit Loops. But one of the people that live at the house here actually got given these as like a free gift from their work, and they got like 3 boxes, and they were like, do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I want to wear tacos and sushi on my feet. I'm excited about it. But I'm here for 7 on Sunday, which is a group run by Grace over at G-Swizzel, and she's always linked down below. Please follow her. She's like one of my favorite people to watch. She is so funny and she's so great, and she runs 7 on Sunday for us, which is just such a treat. It's so fun not to have to think of an idea for a video every week, and I actually get to talk about quite a variety of different books, which is really fun. But today we're going to be talking about books / series that we binge read. And I don't really binge read stuff, and to be honest, with COVID and coronavirus and everything, I was a cashier, and I still am a cashier. I'm just taking a 7-week break here, so I've got all this time to hopefully read, but my life didn't really change that much because I just kept going to work 5 days a week, and obviously I've been staying at home more often than normal. I haven't had a chance to binge read, and I don't generally binge read, so this was kind of really hard for me because I had to think of things from like years back where I maybe managed to finish a whole series. But then she also said if you read a book in one sitting, which I have done sometimes, so I think everything that I have here is pretty accurate, but I'm excited to get into it. Now, the first one that I can think of is the House of Night series by PC and Kristen Cast, because I remember I got the first 6 for Christmas, so I got 3 from my mum and 3 from my auntie, and I was just reading these books like every 3 days, picking up a new one, and for me at the time as a child, reading a book in 3 days was pretty good. Like, I was pretty proud of myself for that, but I was just constantly just like getting through them, and then like I had to go and buy the next 3, and I had Christmas money from all different people, and I managed to buy them, and then it was waiting like 2 more years for the last 3 in the series to come out. But I was just so invested in this vampire series, and even though these books have not aged well, like I feel like if I were to reread them I would hate it. I always had plans to reread this series, but I have too many books to actually read that I haven't read before, and I don't want my views to get tainted by having my more modern feelings about things. Like, I just wanted to sit in that bubble of I really enjoyed it when I was like 12, and I don't want that to go away. But I just remember being so invested in reading these so quickly, like I just had to get through them. Next, I want to talk about Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead, because my sister actually got me the first one and the 5th one, which at the time really wasn't that helpful because my mum needed to buy me books 2 to 4, and we did do that. And I remember reading the first one and I was so invested, and it was pretty much when every time I finished one my mum would buy me the next one, and then I was able to read it. So it felt like a very much a binge-ness because I had to read them as quickly as I could so that whenever she was at the shops at the time she could buy me the next one. And I remember being so excited when I got the 4th one and I read the 4th one, and then I had the 5th one ready to go, and then the 6th one didn't come out for a while. But I remember I was so excited I had to make my mum go get it for me because like the series was finished, and this was before BookTube. This was just me when I only had like 4 different series that I was actually following for the next releases, even though there was probably a gazillion books coming out at the time. But I just remember being so invested, and I'm pretty sure with Bloodlines too, I read them pretty quickly, but then I got into the Bloodline series when only the first 3 had come out, but the next 3 I had to wait for them to come out. And I remember finishing the last one in Newtonbine, but I remember I just loved Bloodline so much. Like, I feel like the Bloodline series is something I could read again and just enjoy it so much because they're such fun books. Okay, next I want to talk about Revel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. So I'm pretty sure I got this book in a YA Chronicles like 4 years ago or something, and I read it at the time, and then I got the sequel and I never picked it up, and then I got the 3rd one and I never picked it up. And when I was gonna go read the sequel, I realized I had no idea what was going on. So I read the first one, then I read the second one, and then I read the third one. So this was the first time in many, many years that I actually managed to read a trilogy just back to back, and I haven't done it since then either. Or no, actually I have. I've done it in a reread for the next one I'm going to talk about, but honestly I had so much fun reading these back to back and actually being with the story from the beginning and knowing what was going on, because I forgot so much about Rebel of the Sands, and I was so happy that I did end up reading that book because I was just confused, and like having that reread really helped, and it was just the shock of actually reading a whole trilogy back to back, and I was like, oh my god, who is this girl? What is she doing? Like, I was shocked at myself, but it was such a good time. I really enjoyed it. I haven't read anything new from Alwyn Hamilton, but the Notorious Virtues seems to keep getting pushed back further and further and further and further, and I'm like, is that book ever happening? Who knows? So the series that I also read back to back was the ACOTAR main trilogy, because I reread ACOTAR, then I reread ACOMAF, and then ACOWAR came out. So I basically did read them back to back, unless there was a book in between ACOMAF and ACOWAR. But I had a fun time reading these, but these books are such easy reading, and I had so much fun rereading them because ACOMAF is one of my favorite books of all time. And I really think all of my favorite books, it's good that I've been rereading them, and I still have a couple more that I can reread that I probably should, but I just find that these are such easy books to read, and you get so invested in what the character's doing and getting to your favorite lines and favorite scenes that you just keep pushing through, and you can read so much in so little time because it's just so exciting, and I almost stumble across the words just to get more read. These were such a good binge read and I enjoyed it so much. Next I want to talk about Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart, because I read this in one day, and it was really funny because the day that I did read this was when I used to read before work, but I haven't done that for a very long time. But I used to start work at 1 o'clock on Sundays, so I would read in the morning for a couple of hours and always get at least 100 pages of my books read. So that's probably why I used to read so much, because all these opportunities to read, I'm just like, no, why would I do that? I'd rather watch TV. Like, Netflix really killed it for me of actually trying to get anything read. I read the first 150 pages of this book and I needed to go to work, but then it started snowing and it didn't stop snowing, so then I called work and I'm like, I'm not coming. And then I read the rest of the book because I had all afternoon now that I wasn't going to work, because I would have worked from 1 till 9, so the whole rest of the day. But it was such a funny thing that it was like I couldn't go to work, so I'm like, might as well finish it. And this book was like 300 pages or something, and it was a very easy and quick read, but I was so invested because the idea of the sisters being put in the wrong spots and having to learn new skills and having to be in like 2 different type of cages, and like, I'm still so mad I haven't read the sequel. Like, how was I so invested when I read this book at the time and haven't finished it? Like, I brought the book with me, it's over there, it's gonna happen, but I just loved it so much. Now the next one I want to talk about is The Things I Didn't Say, and I can't remember who the author is, and I don't have my phone in here with me because I left it in the other room because of reasons, obviously. But you should know the cover. This is an Australian author, and it's basically about a girl who has she doesn't talk. Oh my god, why did why can't I with words today? Like, it's like a social anxiety thing that she talks at home but she doesn't talk in front of other people. I read 2 books about this in a very short amount of time because Eliza and the Monsters has a character. Selective mutism. I remember I was actually here when I read this book because it was for a readathon and I needed to be basically reading a book a day, and because I had a holiday time while I was here at my grandma's, I just sat down and I just read the whole thing. I just took breaks to eat and go to the bathroom, but it took me about 5 hours, but I just sat there and I got it read. I made it happen, and even though it was very grueling and a long time, I still really enjoyed this book. It's a very cute story and I like her development to becoming more mature, and like the love interest is really sweet. See, I don't remember a lot from this book now. I can't remember the author or the characters' names, but I feel like I definitely could reread this one because it was such a fun little read. It was a long day trying to get this book read, and I'm pretty sure for the rest of the readathon I did like nothing. But I got this one book read and it was definitely a binge read for me. And lastly, I'm going to say 4 Dead Queens by someone who I also cannot remember their name. Oh my god, what is wrong? It's like, is it Adriana? No. The picture's going to be here. You'll know the cover. You do know that I'm limited here. If I had my phone, I could help. But I don't have it with me. But this wasn't fully a binge read because it took me 4 days to read. But I think at the time, because my main state of being a person is being in a slump. I was slumpy, but then I picked up this book and I read 70 pages in one day, which is a shock to me because I hadn't read that much in a day for like a very long time, and I just got invested like that. I was just excited. I needed to know what's happening with these queens. There were so many mysteries and things going on, and I had so much enjoyment with this. And I just remember like the next day I read like another 100 pages, and the next day I was like more 100 pages, like keep getting reading done, keep getting this book done. Like, again, I was so invested. I had so much fun with this book. And I know that there's issues with it and a lot of people don't like it, but honestly, just the enjoyment of this story just wins for me. Like, I gave it 5 stars. It was one of my favorite books of the year that I've read it, and a lot of the time, hasn't happened this year or last year, I end up reading my favorite book in the first half of the year, and it just hits me, and I just know that no book's going to top it. But in the year that I read 4 Dead Queens, I also read A Curse So Dark and Lonely and read White and Royal Blue, and it was such a battle having to pick which one was actually my favorite of the year. But then the next year, I didn't really have a favorite, and I just had to pick something, even though it was like, I didn't read a book that could have been my favorite that year. And this year, I'm not sure. It could happen. It's probably not going to happen because I've read 14, and Boyfriend Material is my favorite at this point. Like, there's nothing else, but I did really enjoy that book. But I had so much fun with this, and even when I was filming my review for it, I was just so excited to like think about it and write up my theories and all the things, and it was such a good book. But anyway guys, that is me for today's video, and also again my first video on the new location. I hope this setup is good. Like, the room's not really a mess. The mess is all over there, and there's gonna be more mess where my parents eventually bring all their stuff that they want to have in the room too. So like, I've been on my own for like this past couple of days and then the rest of the week, so that's fun. So there's a little bit more time there to be able to chill and do some other things. But anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!